So just how good is the P40 Pro at night mode in both photo and video compared against the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro and the Galaxy S20 Ultra? These are the best of the best from these three brands, and you'll find out in the video just how different the results are from the three phones. They really are very different in both photo and video. A pattern will emerge though throughout the video that you will see when you compare the Xiaomi device to the other two. And definitely the P40 Pro has this kind of magic, especially in photo in night mode. This picture illustrates that difference. This is using night mode. And when we switch to the Mi 10, you can see just how good the P40 Pro is compared to that with a night mode photo. If we compare all three of them side by side, so both the Samsung and the Huawei device definitely doing a better job. The Xiaomi device has blown out the highlights and the lowlights are too dark. Zooming in 400% just to those boxes over there, it's pretty noisy on all of the phones to be honest, but it is low light conditions. If you take a look at the scene overall, I definitely lean towards the two on the right being more pleasing to the eye overall for me. In low light conditions, the Xiaomi defaults to a night mode even when you're not in night mode. This is normal photo mode, and when we switch to the night mode, you can see the two on the right change, but the Xiaomi doesn't really change too much. In this particular example, the S20 Ultra actually stands out for me for creating a really contrasty, punchy image that catches my eye. Here again is the difference between non-night mode, just a normal photo, and then switching now into night mode. Both the Huawei and the Samsung brighten up the image because it's in night mode, whereas the Xiaomi doesn't really do that because it's already automatically chosen a low light mode because there isn't enough light. Zooming in again, just to give you a different perspective, again, I lean towards the two on the right for just creating a slightly brighter image and a slightly more well-balanced image overall. Shooting video at night on any smartphone is a real struggle. There just isn't enough light, and photography and videography are very, very different in the way they can expose images and use shutter speed of the camera. In city situations like this, there's actually quite a lot of light for the camera to expose to. So just check out if the bright areas are overblown or not. Low light and night mode photography is a general strength of Android phones. They do it quite well. I noticed once again that the Xiaomi device is overblowing the highlights in the image, whereas the other two aren't. Again, in this example, you can see the highlights towards the bottom of the picture are overblown on the Xiaomi device, whereas both the Huawei and the Samsung are giving a better exposure in terms of dynamic range overall in this photograph. This is another example of the Xiaomi overblowing the highlights. You can see in the advertising hoarding, it was very bright. It's overblown on the Xiaomi device. It is exposed properly on the other two. However, the Samsung device has a very dark foreground, whereas the Huawei has exposed the bright and dark areas the best in my opinion here. It looks really good and exposed really well overall. Xiaomi yet again is overblowing the highlights on the car body there. There's something about Huawei phones that give this really grainy, detailed texture during night mode that really stands out for me personally. From a technical point of view, it's the two on the right that are exposing the picture properly and giving the most dynamic range here in this picture. I'd be pleased with all three of these photos if I took it. It was really a low light situation with a top down light. You can see how the Huawei just changes the color of my vest there. I would say naturally it's more of the color of the Samsung device. So I guess you could say the S20 Ultra gave the most realistic image. The Huawei stands out for giving a unique look definitely, and the Xiaomi device is sort of a bit muddy compared to the other two. I don't think any of the three phones gets a perfect score. There are some good images, there are some not so good images, and that's just what you have to deal with in low light situations when there just isn't really enough light to expose the image properly. And during the test, and I definitely didn't plan for this or want to put it in the test at all, but as I was out, I did see the moon up there. It was a very clear night, so I decided to give it a go. This is going into 5 times zoom here, but I just want to see what is the moon going to look like, so I went into a 10 times zoom on the phones. The Huawei is the most contrasty, whereas you can see the very high ISO numbers in the S20 and the Xiaomi device are making the black sky appear, well, not black. And there you go, that is 50 times zoom on the Galaxy S20 Ultra. And to be honest, I think this is a really fun image. And how about the P40 Pro? Is it better or worse? Actually, you can see the colors a little bit different comparing the S20 Ultra and the P40 Pro side by side. And of course, the S20 Ultra actually can go into 100 times zoom, and that is what this looks like. And compared to the Xiaomi device, well, yeah, this looks more like the sun than the moon. You may be able to get better results in Pro mode and if you use some other Pro settings, but I'm just using Auto mode here as most people would be shooting it. The Huawei in night mode leans definitely towards a yellow color hue, and that may be because of the RYYB sensor that it's using. I don't think it looks displeasing. I think it looks actually quite nice, but it's definitely a color hue on the Huawei compared to the other two phones. That's also evident here when you can see slightly yellowish tinges, but in terms of exposure and dynamic range, it really is excelling here. Huawei definitely has a huge amount of dynamic range when it comes to night mode shots and low light in particular. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and videos. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.